Ever since the dawn of time, man has been drawn to the skies. From Leonardo da Vinci to the Wright brothers, everyone has an idea for a flying machine, including Larry Walters of Los Angeles, California. He launched his contraption from his backyard in 1982. He survived that stunt, but has since passed away. But collaborator Steve Gottlieb remembers his friend fondly.
He had the interest in flying ever since he was a child. It was the idea of being able to fly by himself.
In July 1982, after 20 years of fantasizing and planning, the dream became a reality. Larry's plan was to launch his homemade flying contraption from his own backyard and gently journey eastward over Los Angeles.
And when he picked out a lawn chair to be the vehicle that he sat in to transport him, hey, it was light, it served the purpose, and that's what he did.
The chair's low-tech flying system consisted of a bunch of helium weather balloons and 8 gallons of water for counterweight. His landing gear was a pellet gun for shooting out the balloons.
He got in the chair. There were all these last-minute thoughts. Larry, you sure you want to go? His girlfriend, almost in tears, she was pleading with him, Larry, are you sure?
Larry was sure he wanted to go for it, but what he hadn't realized was that he'd grossly overestimated the number of weather balloons he needed. Rather than floating gently upwards, the balloons rocketed him into the sky faster than he had intended, and much higher than he wanted to go. His friends on the ground quickly lost sight of Larry and his flying lawn chair. And, much like the scale model in our demonstration, the wind quickly took Larry into restricted airspace. A pilot flying his plane picked up the intriguing visual. Edward Duanes was up in the sky that day too, piloting a TWA flight from Los Angeles to Washington.
As we turned east at about 7,000 or 8,000 feet, at the 10 o'clock position I happened to see this cluster of balloons. And then as I focused more on it, I could see that there was a person hanging on the bottom of these balloons.
Concerned for Larry's predicament, Edward contacted the control tower to report the odd sighting.
This is TWA 231, level at 16,000 feet. We have a man in a chair attached to balloons at our 10 o'clock position, range 5 miles.
Larry was heading for some very dangerous territory.
The approach corridors to Los Angeles were a little bit north of his position, but the wind currents would push him almost directly north, just about the right glide slope to be crossing those approach corridors of Los Angeles.
Not only was Larry heading into an LAX flight path, but he had reached 16,000 feet and was rapidly rising to uncharted heights in a lawn chair.
At 16,000 feet, it's quite cool. Above 10,000, you really should start to have some supplemental oxygen.
Freezing cold and gasping for breath, Larry knew he had to find a safe, steady way down.
He took out the pellet gun and aimed up at the lower level of balloons, started shooting them out.
If you shoot one too many, you're going to come down at a tremendous rate, or if you don't shoot enough of them, it may take forever to come down.
But as he shot his 7th balloon, he accidentally dropped his gun. By an amazing stroke of luck, Larry had shot out just enough balloons for an even and steady descent. He'd survived a treacherous takeoff, extreme altitudes, and exposure to the elements, but the most dangerous part was yet to come, the landing. Meet Jerry Fleck, who witnessed firsthand the treacherous ending to Larry's escapade.
I just looked out my back door and I saw this tower of balloons. It looked like weather balloons.
From his vantage point, Jerry could see the chair was headed for trouble. As he was approaching the ground, the wind was blowing the rickety contraption directly toward a set of live power lines.
The chair had come just underneath the power lines and has swung into this backyard, and there were some people that were tracking him, and they got there and grabbed the chair as he came swinging in to hold it. Otherwise, he probably would have gone right back up with the wind blowing the balloons, and into the power lines.
So, did Larry really make it safely down to land and into aviation history books? Or is this just a load of hot air? So that leaves us with Larry Walters, the man who took to the skies in his lawn chair. Very bizarre, very strange, but also very true. And here's the actual footage to prove it, shot by his team on that unbelievable day.
Altitude 1,500 feet. Do you copy? Over.
I copy. Are you sure you're okay? There's planes up there. We can hear.
That concludes our walk on the wild side. The world of urban legends is dark, bizarre, and twisted, and sometimes true.